Hello and welcome on Watches TV, and we will talk about what happened during the GPHG 2023 ceremony, but since probably most of you know all the results already, today we will focus more on the feelings of the various winners, what this means to them, but we also interviewed some jury members who gave us their impressions regarding the voting process itself and their experiences. So with no further ado, let's jump right inside, and all our congratulations to all the winners and those who participated. A big hats off for AP for the main prize of the evening, for the spectacular and super complicated RD4, and to be honest, well, was quite convinced it would win. So let's go with our friends Lisa and Inès.
What do you feel receiving this prize?
It's actually pretty cool because, as I said, in 6 weeks I'm out of the Piguet after 29 years. So to end up on the Aiguille, I think it's a real treat, and we got to celebrate tonight.
It's a great honor for you, and I've noticed that you have a lot of love to share. What are your plans for after AP?
Actually, I'm going to rest for 6 to 7 months. I'm going to take care of myself, go get my sleep back, okay, lose some weight, be back in shape, because by September I will go back and announce what I'm going to do next.
Watchmaking?
Sorry?
In watchmaking?
I'm not going to share anything with you.
You're not sharing your secrets. Congratulations anyway.
Thank you so much.
And so it is your first time actually being a member of the jury. What does it mean to you?
Oh, c'est un honneur. It's a high honor for me, and it is, like I said, very surreal. And being in that room with all of these big hitters in the watch industry, people who have been in it for decades, I mean, I was just so surprised that I even was there. And it was kind of like a pinch me moment, and telling my parents about it and my friends, and all of us are just kind of like, how did this happen? But it's so exciting, and I think it's very validating for me that I'm on the right path. And I don't have to learn everything now, but I'm learning so much every day, and it was really inspiring to be around everyone.
Regarding your voting process, what were your criteria for judging those timepieces?
Yeah, well, I feel like I come at watches from a very instinctual place, because after all, they are wearable items, and I was talking to some friends yesterday who are in the fashion world, and they describe them as accessories that have a purpose, which, you know, some watch people would be like, I don't know, they're so different, but they are things that you wear every day. So for me, wearability is a huge factor. Would this go with what I like, and is it versatile, and is it a good design visually? But then, of course, everything changes when you look under the hood and you see the movement. And there was a lot of kind of chit chat about, you know, a lot of the ladies' categories had quartz movements. A lot of the ladies' watches had quartz movements, which to me wasn't surprising. I mean, I'm wearing this Cartier, and it's powered by a quartz movement. And I chose this because I could afford it, but also because, you know, I like the design. So I don't necessarily turn my nose up at that, but it was interesting to hear people be really adamantly against that. But yeah, I think wearability, but also technique and originality. Like, I don't want to see copycats of a watch that I've seen a million times before. I want to see something exciting, because I feel like the GPHG awards really kind of set the tone for the industry, and they challenge people to go out of their shell a little bit. So yeah, it's a number of factors, but it all starts on my gut and my core.
Which category did you enjoy the most? And on the contrary, which one were the hardest for you to choose from?
Yeah, well, my focus is women in watches, ladies pieces. So the ladies categories were really exciting for me. I felt the most comfortable kind of talking about them, and you know, I could see the eyes on me when it's all these guys who know everything about chronograph and tourbillon, and then they're like, what are we supposed to do with this watch? It has a quartz movement, you know, it's got diamonds on it, but I was like, oh, I would so wear this. For example, the Piguet, the cuff, it's gold, it's hand engraved, it has this amazing stone dial, and then the little diamonds that are surrounding it, or maybe they're sapphires. But to me, that is so evocative of Piaget's golden age in the 70s, and they're coming up on a huge anniversary. I think it's their 150th anniversary. And so you can see the work that goes into kind of digging back into the archives and finding inspiration in this time that was so fun, and Studio 54 and, you know, glamorous, and the jet set crowd. And I love that. And I love when a brand can kind of gracefully work with their archive and create a design fit for a modern woman, but still paying homage to what, you know, came before them. So yeah, a piece like that I feel so comfortable talking about. On the other hand, the more technical categories were challenging for me. I'm still learning about movements and finishing, and I know how to identify Côte de Genève, I know what a tourbillon is, I know what a chronograph is, but the level of understanding that a lot of these experts have, just down to the very minute detail, it's intimidating. And so those were the categories where I was really listening, and I was like, okay, I have to, because even beyond this judging process, I want to learn, I want to get on that level. And so, yeah, it was difficult, but it was inspiring, and, you know, if you're going to hear it from anyone, you might as well hear it from them.
Thank you very much for your time, and congratulations for your prize. Could you share with us a few words on winning this prize at the GPHG?
It's a very special moment for us. It's a very emotional moment, as we've been working for a long time in watchmaking, and this is the first time we are receiving a prize for women complication. So I'm very proud and very honored for all the teams that have been working very hardly to receive this prize.
Very happy. It's not easy function and not easy movement to do, and actually it's a very new movement what we have been made in house, and so I'm very happy, and also that the watch has a quite strong character due to its shape, so I'm very happy that that's been selected.
The shape is very unique. Are you going to continue with this shape for the future watches, or is it a secret?
Well, I don't want to be a victim of the one shape or one style, so I like to express the watchmaking in different ways, and that's also like a start to do a bit different things. So personally I like, and also that I have a liberty to do that, because I'm the only owner of my company. Nobody does tell me what to do, so I can express myself.
It is your first time being a member of the jury, and what does it mean to you?
It was quite an honor. It was really, like, I have to say, it was an honor and a privilege. I was very, very happy to be selected for the jury. So the jury is comprised of 15 and 15. 15 people come from the academy, and they're selected randomly. I was not previously in the academy. I was in the other 15. The other 15 are people who were selected by the president, so Nick Foulkes, to come and join the jury, and I guess like help to just add some new perspective to the jury overall. I love watches, I love design, I love craft, and the opportunity to see all of these great watches side by side in your hands is an incredible opportunity, you know, and I hope I contributed at least a little bit to the discussion. You sit in this room with multiple tables. I think it was 5 tables of 6 people, and the composition of each table actually rotates after every category, so you don't end up sitting with the same people all the time as well. And at the table, you know, they put down the watches of the category, and you look at them together as a table, and you discuss among each other. You know, sometimes you get put down with like very experienced watchmakers or very experienced salespeople or very experienced engineers, and you know, to get their perspective as you're trying to evaluate something is really, really helpful.
Could you share with us an anecdote or an important moment or an unexpected aspect which surprised you during the voting process?
I mean, the moments where I would put on a watch and everything would click and I'd be like, wow, this is an amazing watch. Those were really enjoyable. I'm more than happy to say on camera, like the Peter and Bada chronograph, and also actually the Tudor Pelagos, and I have to say the Tag Chronos, all watches that I didn't expect would feel so good on the wrist. I was really impressed by that. But I probably enjoyed most the debate between the different jury members, especially towards the end. We give a prize, it's a discretionary prize, but it was given this year, a prize, the special jury prize for somebody or something or some organization that's made a great contribution to horology. And it was interesting just to see like the names or the institutions that people came up with and how they argued for it. And actually, it does get a little political. You know, at the end of the day, like the GPHG sits in this position that is tenuous. You know, it's got to maintain relationships with a lot of different people and a lot of different brands all at the same time. And so it was interesting to see the political angle of this prize. In the end, I don't think they made like a politics first choice. I think they really did a very respectful horology first choice. But still, it was like interesting to see how much it was on the minds of all the jury members. It was a pleasure to be next to Anita Porcher. I was next to her for a few rounds of the voting, and I was next to her like for the fine handcrafts round, and obviously she has super high standards, and I won't go any further than that.
Alors, merci beaucoup pour votre temps et félicitations pour votre prix. Est-ce que vous pourriez nous partager comment vous vous sentez ce soir?
C'est des moments extrêmement agréables qui nous est arrivé déjà une fois ou deux. C'est une reconnaissance de nos pairs, puisque ce sont soit des collectionneurs, soit des horlogers, soit des gens qui connaissent extrêmement bien l'horlogerie. Donc c'est vrai que c'est très valorisant d'être récompensé par un jury d'une telle qualité.
Tell us a few words after winning this first award at the GPHG.
Yeah, we are very proud. It was a long time to develop it, and we love the product, of course, but it's more. How do you say that? We feel it differently when a bunch of experts like it too. So we are really, really proud of it.
And a lot of stress, of course, but until the end. But we are very proud of and happy to have this prize, and we thank again all the jury. There is some friends of us there. They're incredible, and we are very happy to be there.
What was the hardest category for you to choose from?
The hardest category was well, in terms of which was my favorite categories, I just answered that question. Harder categories were maybe the ladies categories or the jewelry pieces. That was hard for me to judge.
This is interesting. For a woman, it's hard to judge a timepiece that's actually dedicated to a woman.
But I must say, actually thinking about it, the hardest were the categories where I had two or three really strong nominees, and it was hard for me to give the full points to one of them. I would have sometimes liked to have them in separate categories so I can give them full points, to each one of them. And sometimes it was really hard to give 1 point to a really well-made, beautiful, splendid watch. That was sometimes really hard, yeah. And there was 1 point I remember, am I allowed to be opinionated? There was 1 point that I remember where we had a big board up, a big whiteboard up, and there were names written on there, and at some point there was the Xhevdet Rexhepi watch was on it, but it was crossed out. because it wasn't working when we got it. And but on the other hand, watches of the challenge category were still on it, and that's where I had to grab the microphone, because I felt very strongly about the Rexhepi watch, and I said that I thought they were making a mistake, because in the end this is still the Geneva Grand Prix of watchmaking, and Rexhepi definitely has a place in it. And you know, I knew from my own experience the watches are traveling through 5 countries, so for all we know, it could have been that he handed it in perfect working order, and someone along the way might have dropped it. And because what I saw was, and you know, some jury members were dismissing it straight away because it wasn't working and they wanted it to be disqualified. So in complete unison, the other jury members voted to have him enter again next year. So I thought that was a really good, balanced decision between all the jury members.
Congratulations, first watch, first prize straight away. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm so honored to be here today. Such an amazing moment for me for starting this amazing career with my brand. This is awesome, and I cannot expect something so big for starting. So this is amazing.
How are you going to celebrate this?
I will try to spend time with my two employees and just take a few times to just enjoy this amazing moment.
So after winning this prize, what are the next level?
Yeah, so we have a lot of things to do to achieve, because we really want to come with the best watch. So it's tough just every day to just challenge all those incredible finishing, be sure that the watch that we will deliver will be perfect. So it's very hard work every day, but so we have a lot of challenge. So we have a lot of things to do, trust me.
Mr. Schäufler, how do you feel receiving this prize tonight?
Well, it's always very emotional to receive a prize like that, and because all the work that went into the watch sort of comes back into your head, and it's a wonderful feeling to have accomplished something and that actually other people really appreciate, you know.
You're proud of your team?
Yes, definitely. And I think they can be proud of themselves, because we always go through some difficult times, especially when you're looking at watches like the Berthoud. You know, you have an idea in your head, but you know where you start, but you don't know where you finish.
How are you going to celebrate?
Well, first of all, I'm going to have a nice glass of champagne, I think. And then in Fleurier, I'm sure we'll have a small celebration.
I think the voting process is very clear and systematically. It's organized. Each pieces we discuss a lot, because each one special watch enthusiast and specialist has a different kind of a value and a criteria and opinion. So we discuss a lot. But finally, I think we got a good discussion, and I think I bought all the candidate.
And did you come prepared with an idea of your ranking and did seeing the watches in real life and discussing them with the other members of the jury change or affect your initial choice?
I think it's a good question. Actually, I already prepared something and I had an idea which one is the best in this category, something like that. But after I saw the watch, attached real watches and a discussion with other juries, sometimes I change my mind pretty drastically because these years, for me, it's very interestingly, many watches is better than pictures. So sometimes the picture is better than real one, but this year, very luckily, the real one is much, much nicer. So I'm so impressed to see that this one, wow. And then I changed my mind. So yesterday, it's a pretty interesting session for me. For me, design is very important because the USP, the wristwatches, is something instrument to keep measure the time. But now it's not just an instrument. It's something like a symbol or express who you are, what kind of taste you have. That is, I think, design is probably more important.
For us, it's something very special. First of all, because it's the first prize that we get. In the team, it's not the first prize Lepe is winning, but for my team, it's the first prize. It's also somehow a recognition of what everything has been done in the clockmaking. For years, it was forbidden. Almost everyone has forbidden clocks, and what we have seen, the most difficult is not to manufacture the clock, is to make the people seeing the clock, and being able to see it. And the GPHG is a nice window for that. So hopefully our product will be more and more known, and not only our product, all the clock will be more and more known by the industry. And by the collectors, the watch collector, but also the artistic collector, the collector of art. And we really hope that this window will open up the field, even if it's huge. Not that many people knows about us, so we really hope that will be a help.
Thank you. It's an absolute dream come true, I think, for the entire team in Schaffhausen and just all of our partners that have been on this long journey with us. It's really the icing on the cake, the cherry on the cake, if you will, and we look forward to many more with future developments.
Yeah, it's always very difficult to judge because some categories require the juror to judge based on that category. Iconic timepieces. For example, you have to vote disregarding what is the watch that you like the most in that category, because you have to stick to what's iconic. And so if you have to judge mostly on the most iconic piece, maybe your favorite piece is not the winner. And same goes for innovation, or same goes for many other categories. It's if you have to stick to the criteria that category gives you, probably your favorite watch or the watch you admire the most maybe doesn't qualify to be at the top. So voting requires you don't necessarily vote for your favorite watch all the time. The categories I enjoyed the most were, I love jewelry a lot. And because you see, I like all the categories where there is the most artistic input. So the artistic category for the dials was, and not just the dials and the watches, it was very fun to judge. And also the jewelry. The jewelry is where you see the maximum expression of artistry, because it involves many things. And they are not necessarily, you judge the the watch, but the artwork. You judge the concept, you judge the execution, and those are very enjoyable, very, very enjoyable. I think the jewelry is my favorite one. To keep the GPHG relevant would be to keep it moving all the time. It would be to keep it fresh and innovative all the time. I use a very trendy words now to be as inclusive as you could with brands. To be as open to accept other brands as possible, to keep the jewelry always fresh and new and evolving, to lose some categories or introduce new ones according to the change of times, be in touch with what watchmaking is today. So those are all key elements to keep the GPHG relevant, because nothing is worse than having something stagnant and stale, and that will attract criticism, it will attract, plus it won't evolve any thought in anyone. So I think the GPHG has to be as contemporary and as relevant, even though rooted in classicism, you know, because we're talking about watchmaking.
We're super excited. I mean, it's really a very nice reward. It's been a lot of work, and also, you know, the Frick is an amazing and a disruptive watch that was created 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. And for us, I think that's another iteration in a very long story of the Frick. A lot of innovation, more than 20 patents. And for us, it's good. I mean, we've been working on this for 5 years.
It was a kind of a freak year for Ulysse Nardin this year. What are the plans for the next year?
No, it's a freaky year, but believe me, what you're going to see in the next couple of years is going to be mind-blowing, also in terms of freak. And it's also a reason why tonight I was so pleased to bring over with me Ludwig, the legend in terms of watchmaking, and he's back working with us, and he's also working on the next wonders we're going to be creating.
Bravo encore pour ce premier prix au Grand Prix. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous partager quelques mots sur comment vous vous sentez?
Franchement, je suis ravi d'avoir gagné ce prix, et puis si c'est à refaire, je le ferai. Voilà.
Félicitations encore, et j'espère à tout bientôt.
The voting process was actually absolutely amazing, because you got to experience, not on a page, but you got to experience the watch. You got to experience the dial, the shimmers of colour, the change of colour, the design of the watch, the case in relationship to the dial. So for me, that was an amazing thing, to have this all coming together. And you know, when you judge on a page, you don't get, even a digital page, you don't get the essence of this watch. You don't get the idea of what they're doing. From, you know, some of the watches, the articulation of an IWC engineer bracelet and how it fits on the wrist, the freak and how you pop up and you turn the bezel, to some of the most stunning dials, the movements, but then also the other great thing is when you're sitting at the table, someone is from this, you know, there's a watchmaker there, there's a dial producer, there's a vintage guy, there's you know, some goddesses in the watch world sitting at your table and talking about, you know, this is, can you imagine what they're thinking? Or when you look at the movements and you know, what are their plans for the future of that movement? That is where the process is almost starting with listening.
If you could suggest or create a new category, what would it be?
This is the same with judging. How do you become a critic of something that someone believes is perfection? You know, so for me that's, but you're asking, I think to myself the struggle was price brackets. That for me is my only thing that I would see. It would add more categories, but I think to myself is a £8,500 watch against, I don't know, $500,000 or £250,000 watch. I think you can't judge those two together. That would be my only probably pushback. But honestly, it's an honour to actually judge these watches and see these watches. So that's kind of, but definitely not a critic. I'm definitely not a critic. I'm watching this movie on the screen and just going, wow. It's almost like I'm one of those extras that's walking around the back and just going, hey. That's what I feel on this. I feel like I'm part of it, but not really. I'm just a small little part.
All right, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks a lot for watching. The very best to you. See you real soon, and viva celebration watchmaking!